Fallout 76 just got its largest DLC add-on to date. This adds in a totally new segment to the main quest. We're gonna have to find out what happened to this guy named Calvin, and in turn actually discover what role the Sheepsquatch may have or may not have played in that. With that, you get a brand new event that you probably have been seeing pop up on servers, but even further, something I think a lot of people might be missing, it also adds in 4 side quests that go along with this. They're in a very similar vein. A lot of them actually have references to the main quest, and all in all, after completing all of this, it'll take you a good few hours. It's not something you could bang out in 45 minutes. Although how long it actually takes you will vary, and I'll talk about why in this video. And this also adds in several new items, a couple of new weapons you can get that do have unique skins or even abilities, but also some new outfits you can unlock for free, as well as camp items to put down. But even further, with this new DLC content, there's a really bizarre aspect. It seems like there might be a second phase on the way, or just some stuff that's missing, stuff that doesn't really add up or make sense. I'm going to talk about most of that towards the end of this video. So I know a lot of you guys probably don't want spoilers if you're watching this video to decide if you should try out the new quest. So I'll first talk mostly about the main quest and side quests, some of the content, what kind of new items you might be able to get, and then after that I'll talk about the story, so hopefully avoiding most of the spoilers if you don't want to hear them. So as I mentioned before, the way this is actually going to be structured is, you're going to have one main quest line. This has 4 quests within it where you're trying to track down what happened to Calvin. He went missing at some point. His sister kind of lays out all the basic clues and where you could get started. She basically says she's been looking for him but has to give up at this point, and hey, maybe you'll find him. He was tracking the Sheepsquatch, so maybe you'll also find the Sheepsquatch along the way. Although once you wrap up the 4th quest in the series, then you'll get the encrypted event. A lot of you guys probably have seen this going on, as it is a server-wide event similar to fighting the Scorchbeast Queen. So you'll just see a message pop up, oh, the encrypted event is starting, and then you go and can participate. During this event, there's basically 3 pylons and an imposter Sheepsquatch, which is a modified Assaultron. The event itself is actually quite difficult. The Assaultron himself does a ton of damage, but even further, to actually make him stop being invisible or take down his shields as they describe it, 3 players have to hook themselves up to some of the surrounding pylons. When you're hooked up to this pylon, it will naturally drain your health, and if you die, then you'll disconnect from it, so somebody else will have to do it again to lower the shields once again on the Assaultron. So in effect, it is meant to be very community driven, but also very difficult. A lot of people are citing this as far more difficult than the Scorchbeast Queen event. Although this is the conclusion to the Lying Lowe questline, it's actually a repeatable server-wide event. There is a 3-hour cooldown on this, but otherwise you just walk up to the terminal and you can start it. You just require 1 item, that being the Assaultron Recall keycard, and to craft that you actually need the Assaultron Recall circuit board, which can be purchased from vendors for 2200 caps. So I'd expect to see these running periodically as people want to farm some of the higher level items from his loot drops, but we'll talk more about that in a moment. Outside of the main quest, you also do have the 4 side quests. I think a lot of people might be missing these, because you see 2 of them on the main bulletin board in the train station. You could actually find the full 4, including notes from Calvin, in Calvin's office in the Van Lowe house. So you read these notes, get some of the backstory, and it will kick off the quest. These side quests are actually pretty cool. They're fairly contained, they're definitely not as long as the main quest. The theme of all of these was basically Calvin was trying to find the real life Sheepsquatch, and these were all just kind of odd things that happened in his community, whether it be a couple of people killed or somebody going missing, and you're going to pick up the trail and try and figure out what happened to those people. The environmental storytelling on some of these side quests was really well done. You could see the scene of how things played out while listening to a holotape of it play out in real time.
I should have killed that thing when I had the chance. I'm coming for you, you piece of... No!
Some of the characters in the side quests are mentioned in the main quest, and overall I would say they're pretty positive, if not a little bit short. Even some of these small ones can be pretty touching and definitely leave you with a sense of pride and accomplishment. By doing all of this, you're actually going to accumulate a ton of new items that were added in for this questline. One of the notable ones is actually this new pair of binoculars that has a custom skin and will also mark enemies as you see them. So originally I thought you couldn't zoom them in, making them kind of useless, but in fact it just doesn't tell you. But if you hit the Q key, you actually can zoom in 3 times, making these pretty useful when trying to scout out a certain area. Although one of the oddities on the Pearly Peepers is when you take out another weapon, all of those marks are lost, so they just disappear. The Fixer is a custom combat rifle you also can get. This too has a cool white texture, as well as it's going to make you sneak faster and just be better at sneaking overall. And you get the plan for this as a drop from that encrypted event. Outside of that, from doing some of the side quests and main quests, you could also get a bunch of mounted heads you could put up in your camp. These are pretty cool. I know a lot of people have been wanting stuff like this, especially people creating hunter cabins. That's most of the stuff you can get for free, although some of the coolest drops without a doubt come as random drops from the encrypted event. You get things like the Sheepsquatch imposter outfit. This is made up of two components. The outfit itself as well as the helmet is separate. The White Wolf fedora is pretty commonly dropped. A lot of people get that just by doing the event once or twice, but also things like the Sheepsquatch mascot outfit. This is the one we saw in the trailers, and I know a lot of people have been looking for this. You get it from this event. As far as the gameplay elements of this, the event itself, again, is difficult. I enjoyed it. I know some people are frustrated, but I think having really late game or end game content is good for this game. It's something we needed. And a difficult event that you actually struggle to complete is one example of that. You're going to have to coordinate and plan things out to be successful, at least to some degree. So I think that's a really welcome addition and will improve the long term of this game. Although as far as the actual questing goes, I started to get kind of search fatigue after doing the main quest and all the side quests. The vast majority of these quests involve at least some component of go to this location and look around for all of the clues. The whole thing's meant to be a mystery, so this makes sense. But after doing this for like 30 to 40 clues, it definitely can get a little bit tiresome. Like there might just be one clue you kind of walked past and didn't realize, and now you're gonna have to go back and search the whole area to find it. And that's why I say how long it takes you to complete these quests will really vary. If you find every single clue right away, then hey, maybe you could bang them out in just a few hours. But I personally spent quite a bit of time actually searching for some of the more obscure ones, and I know other people have somewhat also. Towards the beginning, it was kind of novel and cool. I really felt like a detective to some degree. But again, after doing all of these over a day or two, towards the end, some of these side quests, it just got a little bit tedious for me and I wasn't enjoying it as much. And that's it. That's pretty much a comprehensive look at literally everything from this. The main quest, the event, as well as the 4 side quests and all the various items you get as a reward. If you're looking for just my opinions on this, you could skip ahead to this timestamp. Otherwise, now we're going to have the more spoiler talk of the contents of this main quest. I thought the main quest was rather odd. I really liked how it started off. It got me excited. In effect, it was a couple of friends trying to find out more about cryptids, specifically Sheepsquatch. They were tracking some of the sightings. That's where you go on some of those side quests, and they would meet periodically to discuss their findings. Although as time went on, some of these guys went off to do other things, and one of the main characters, known as Calvin, actually ended up getting recruited by a government agency to work on this secret Assaultron project. Throughout, you find tidbits that Calvin was having maybe some mental issues, and maybe he wasn't the most fit for this. As a result, in the end, he actually starts modifying this Assaultron to start trying to use it to actually find the Sheepsquatch. Something goes wrong, he uses one of the wrong settings, and it becomes the imposter Sheepsquatch, kills him, and escapes. As we pick up the trail, we're basically tracking down the government agency who was tracking down Calvin. You see a lot of their communication back and forth, some of the steps Calvin was taking along with others involved in it. And there's a lot of really cool moments here. It just felt weird because initially I thought I was getting one thing, that would be kind of ghost hunters trying to find out if the Sheepsquatch is real or not. But in reality, you're getting a government project with a rogue agent and like spies and assassins, silencer killing people.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, it just wasn't, again, at all what I was expecting. It's not like Fallout 76 is totally based in reality. I just felt like, in particular, with this questline, like to sum it up in a sentence or two, there's a kind of crazy dude that's obsessed with the Sheepsquatch that reprograms a government-grade Assaultron to be an imposter Sheepsquatch and start killing people. Either way, as far as my overall impressions go, I feel like the content we got was definitely fun and enjoyable. There's quite a few hours of good times to be had, whether it be alone or with others. Not everyone's going to love the way the story is told through holotapes and terminal entries, but I felt like for me at least, there was a couple of really special moments that it really sucked me in and I wanted to know what happened next. I really felt like I was tracking down a mystery where I could see some of the environmental clues and then I was getting some of the backstory through holotapes. And if you already own the game and you're looking for some interesting quest or story, this is a good one to try. I mean, at the end of the day, it is free and I think it's worth playing. But now if you're like me, you might be sitting there thinking to yourself, wait a second, isn't there something missing? Wasn't there supposed to be something else with this update? The answer to your question would be a resounding yes. there's no Sheepsquatch. We get the robotic imposter Sheepsquatch, but as far as genuine Sheepsquatch creatures in this game, there doesn't seem to be anything added, or at least I haven't seen anyone report actually encountering this. The bizarre and rather curious part about this is, and I guess minor spoilers, skip ahead if you don't want to see it, the Sheepsquatch is in the game. We have several images of this. I saw a couple of people trying to say, oh, it's obvious that a bunch of people are just doing this as a hoax. They took the imposter Sheepsquatch skin and applied it to a Deathclaw, but no, they're two distinctively different skins. Even further, through other data mining, there are definitely Sheepsquatch encounter events. You can find it fighting other enemies or certain quests associated with it. But again, none of these seem to be live, at least just yet, which then raises the question, what are they waiting for? And even further, we have this map. A lot of people were really speculating around this. It was the image shared when they announced this questline. We saw dots at really notable locations: the newly added vault into the game, the crashed space station, West Tech Research, and naturally that really guided the speculation around this DLC. It was one of the main marketing images shared. Well, something really interesting I discovered while filming this video, the map actually changed. If you compare the map we've been speculating around for the past couple of months to the map that you presently find in-game in Calvin's room, they're quite distinctively different. Some of the dots are totally gone, like the dot at the crashed space station, the dot at West Tech Research. Some of the newly added dots are locations. You can find some of those side quests. They're actually clearly labeled on the map there. But even further, some of the other dots that are new or changed are corresponding to newly added unmarked locations that through data mining apparently corresponds to a later Sheepsquatch quest. Taking this all together with also the factor that there are certain things just missing through data mining and through the trailer, we knew we were supposed to get a new bear claw weapon, that being this thing. As of right now, you can't find it, and of course you also can't find the Sheepsquatch. It really seems like there might be some kind of part 2 on the way. Bethesda has announced that there is going to be a new high-level dungeon coming out next week, that with the burrows. This is going to be directly under Harper's Ferry. On the old map, Harper's Ferry wasn't labeled. Now there is a dot there. So could that be the point that continues this questline? It seems rather odd. Based off what we know right now, the burrows is around the Brotherhood of Steel, although we will find out more tomorrow. But taking this all together, I'm left with, well, just a lot of questions. The first one being, is there a part 2? Are we going to actually go on a quest or journey to find the real Sheepsquatch, not some man-made robot? With several of the quests that are presently in the game, you can find out that there are sightings of something matching the description of a Sheepsquatch, although naturally you never find out what. For a lot of those side quests, you get alternate explanations, like a modified bear or something else. But what if those aren't the right explanations? What if some of these sightings are of the things we have seen and other ones are actually the Sheepsquatch, and that other explanation is just a red herring and it's really a still opened case? And then the other big question is, what happened with the map? Why do we have one map for months that had a bunch of these points, and then now we have this one with a lot of different points? The space station was circled before, but now isn't. Does that mean they had plans for it, but it never panned out? Through data mining, we also know behind this secret door is actually some kind of vault door, likely pretty similar to the Enclave bunker door. Maybe for some of these, they decide to include it in other future content, or what happened? It all seems very odd how this was all changed in just a few weeks. Either way, I will keep you guys up to date as the mystery does continue. If you have ideas or theories or something along those lines, feel free to comment them down below. With all that in mind, I thank you for watching again, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.